Welcome back to the Baltimore FlockCast, the number one Baltimore Ravens podcast in the world. Took a little week off. I felt like it was only right. I'll be honest, watching the playoffs without the Ravens there didn't feel good. A lot of good games, but man, it's not about them, it's about us. Obviously, Harbaugh's gone. We kind of figured this one was coming. The past two episodes, we talked about possible replacements for John, but man, the news actually hitting and being true feels a bit surreal. 18 years. That is a whole adult life. It's kind of crazy. But it's happened. They said in their, State of the Union that EDC and Biscotti had a key pressure point in the reason why Harbaugh got fired was his refusal to entertain any conversations about potentially moving on from Todd Monken and possibly Zach Orr as well. I think that's an interesting hill to die on for John. But hey, things happen. Here we are. Honestly, some wild quotes from Biscotti in that interview saying that if Luke made that kick, Harbaugh would have a job for another week. That's about it. Saying that it was already pretty much predetermined that this was going to happen. I don't know. Bit worried too that Biscotti in this State of the Union address said that he will be selling the Ravens. He's not going to pass his team down through his family. And at first, my reaction was, that's great. He's not going to pass the team down. Good for him. We're not going to get some like young owner that doesn't really love the Ravens like he did or as we would appreciate. But now I'm starting to think, if Biscotti's going to sell this team, that means he needs to increase the value of the team, right? And that means a lot of kind of off the cuff, maybe you could use that off the cuff decisions what are going to happen, or old moves like us just kind of pushing all our chips in to get some big name guys, make the brand more valuable. It kind of scares me. But that's not something we should really harp on, be worrying about owners and money. That's a lot to worry about, but it's something to think on. When Biscotti sells this team, you can also have the issue of, maybe this owner wants to move the team out of Maryland or Baltimore. I don't think that's likely, but weird things happen when you get a new owner that comes in. Putting it out there. He even said in this State of the Union address, or someone brought up the Tomlin firing, and he said, we will hire Tomlin, sure, if Harbaugh goes and takes the Pittsburgh job. So obviously this is not going to happen. And for the Ravens fans out there that would like to get Tomlin as our next head coach, it's a bit weird. So Tomlin stepped down. The Steelers still own his rights as a coach. Basically, he's just going to take the next year off, be a commentator, probably just be a dad at home, hang out with his family. And then, like Sean Payton a few years ago at the Saints, they can be offered draft picks, trade their coach away, and get something for Tomlin, which is pretty awesome that it works out for that way for the Steelers. Not awesome as a Ravens fan, but they did it right. I will say that. And if you're thinking, man, why couldn't we do that with John Harbaugh? Well, John had like 3 or 4 years left on his deal. I don't think he wants to take a 3 or 4 year leave of absence or a couple years off and then come back to the game. I'm not saying John's old, but he's in his 60s. Time's of the essence. Talking now about a new possible coach, I think one big thing to think about before we even visit the list of team or coaches that we have interviewed or need to interview and are going to in the future. I think a big thing, just to set this up, a lot of people, they say we need a defensive coach because we're the Ravens. It's our culture. It's something we've always done. Had a strong defense, gritty. It's our culture. I say the exact opposite. I don't think we need a defensive coach. I think you have Lamar Jackson playing quarterback, and we still have not won a Super Bowl. If you pair Lamar Jackson with one of the best offensive minds in the game, sky's the limit. 1 + 1 = 2. I don't know what to tell you guys. It just sounds right to me. The list of people that we have interviewed so far, so these are finished interviews. Broncos defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph. Broncos quarterbacks coach and passing game coordinator, Davis Webb. And you guys are probably thinking, like, wait a minute, Davis Webb, I remember him playing in the league like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. You're right. You're not thinking anything crazy. You're not getting old. That is 100% true. If you guys don't know, Davis Webb was kind of like a journeyman quarterback. Didn't really work out anywhere for him. Was just a backup. I don't know about you guys. I think those are the best kind of coaches. People always say, like, oh, why isn't Tom Brady getting into coaching or Peyton Manning? Usually the best athletes are not the best coaches. For some reason, the guys that just sit and watch more, I mean, there is a reason because they're watching the game, get to break down more. Those guys are the better coaches, especially backup quarterbacks, because quarterback's one of the smartest guys on the field because you got to know the ins and outs, everything that's going on to play quarterback. You're the brain. To be the backup, I think that's the perfect recipe for a great coach. But let's continue on with the list. Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. This is a guy I said the past 2 episodes that is in my top 3, my favorites list. Absolutely love Clint Kubiak. Really hope the Ravens consider picking him up to be our next coach. Also have ex-Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski, former 2-time Coach of the Year award winner. That one's just a bit nasty. I know on the last episode, Bam Jacobs said that Kevin Stefanski would be a pretty decent hiring. Sorry, Bam. I just can't get the stink of the Browns off Kevin. No, I'm not going to. I can't. I can't do it. I can't see Kevin as the coach of the Ravens. Sorry. Another gross one. Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy. Absolutely not. If we hire Matt Nagy, I will go down to the city, I will flip cars, and I will start a riot. No. This is one I think is kind of funny too. On the last episode, we threw it around saying, what if we interview Anthony Weaver? It could be a random one, but we both agreed it could be a bad decision. But we saw this one coming because Anthony Weaver is a product of our system. He left us to go coach in Miami. He's our defensive coordinator. I don't think he would be a good head coach. It's a little too soon. That'd be kind of like giving Zach Orr the job. No, thank you. And Anthony Weaver did not really have a good time in Miami this year. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Next one is ex-Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury. This is another guy on my short list where I'd be very happy if we pulled the trigger on Cliff, made him our next head coach. Like I said, you get one of the best offensive minds, you put him with Lamar Jackson, fireworks. It's going to be something amazing to watch. Also, this was kind of a shocker. I think this was really recently, or even today. I'm kind of losing track of time here. A Browns defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz. Did not see this one coming at all. Bit of a surprise to me. And this kind of seems like the media and the public's sweetheart and favorite, Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter. Jesse also has a previous history with the Ravens coaching staff, being with us for, I believe, about 3 or 4 years as an assistant. I was saying, just off these 10 people that we have completed interviews with, and there's more interviews that we have to get done down the road, so we'll cover them in a second. But these 10 guys, I gotta say, quick favorite 3, definitely Clint Kubiak. Big fan of Clint. Love Cliff Kingsbury, as we said as well. But a new wild card I'm really liking is that Davis Webb, man. Davis Webb had a pretty good year with the Broncos this year. Obviously, a very successful offense. Man, having that young, just energy in there. 30 years old, by the way. Former backup quarterback, like 2 years removed from the league. It's enticing. It sounds fun. I don't know a whole lot about the guy, but sounds fun to me. Let's give this guy a shot. Let's see what happens. It sounds weird to say that too as a Ravens fan because we've only ever had, 3 coaches in our history. Saying, yeah, let's just give this guy a shot. Maybe that's not the best verbiage, but Davis Webb could be the next coach of the Ravens. Here are guys that we plan on interviewing, just haven't gotten around to it yet. 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh. Man, I really like this one too. I know I said I wanted an offensive guy, but if we were going to go more on the defensive side of the ball, get a coach like that, he might be my number 1 choice, honestly. if not Brian Flores, but we'll see. We'll see. Brian Flores, we'll go back for a second. I'd say Brian Flores is also a very realistic candidate for this job. I've seen him kind of like in the top three of the odds of our supposed to be our next head coach, whether that's like on Poly Market or like a real sports book. No free ads from them, but it's a good source to look at how likely something is to happening. So highly recommend checking odds every once in a while. We also interviewed Rams passing game coordinator Nathan Sheilhass, or I can't even say it, dude. We'll go Sheilhass. That sounds right. Don't know a whole lot about Nathan here, but I will say the Rams' passing offense is pretty solid. But the fact that I don't really know much about Nathan probably means that there's just about no shot to this. But at the same time, could have said the same thing about John Harbaugh, the special teams coordinator that we signed in 2008. So I guess anything's possible. This is a weird one because I thought we interviewed Dolphins former head coach Mike McDaniel already, but I saw Jeff Z put out a list saying that we have not interviewed him yet. All right, whatever. But next one on the list is Mike McDaniel from the Dolphins. At first, I said definitely not. Maybe as an offensive coordinator, or definitely as an offensive coordinator, to be honest. He'd be amazing. But then I got to thinking more. Last year with the Dolphins was kind of a one-off. And then my other gripe, I would say, is it kind of seemed like he lost the locker room with Tua just saying weird stuff to the media, Tyreek saying he doesn't want to be there. Things like that worry me. But as we said earlier, you put one of the best offensive minds in football with Lamar Jackson. I would go on a limb here and say that Mike McDaniel might be the best offensive mind in football altogether. But is he a good enough head coach to make it work? Can he keep the respect of the locker room wearing, what are those, capris? That's a little tough. I'm not trying to make fun of the man for his fashion choices, but if he's wearing capris in Baltimore, I'm not too sure how it's gonna be interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. Not to judge him, but I'm judging. Love you, Mike McDaniel. Another one seems like the media and fans' favorite, Rams defensive coordinator Chris Shula. This guy is honestly just about in every team's rumored head coaches if they're looking for a coach right now. Chris Shula is one of the hottest guys on the market. Same with Jesse Minter. I don't think it's super likely to get Shula. I know Bam said he was one of his guys. He really liked him, especially with his grandfather um, being the coach of the Baltimore Colts back in the day. The whole Shula family runs super deep with coaching. Obviously, you got his uncle, coached Alabama. I'm not too sure where he is now, but it's a pretty deep family coaching-wise throughout just football in general. It would be interesting just going off that family history. But another one, this is a guy I've been talking about for 2 episodes at least now. This will be the third. Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady. Man did some magic down there with Joe Burrow, 2019 LSU. Don't know if you guys forgot about that one. Did pretty good this year with Josh Allen as well. The only issue, I guess you could say, is his stint with the Carolina Panthers, but we've named a few names so far that have had pretty bad stints with bad teams. Because, guys, let's be honest, if you're the coach of the Jets, like Robert Salah, or you're in Carolina a few years ago before they got it together, or you're coaching the Browns, probably not going to work out too well. It's an uphill climb. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt here. But DaCosta said we plan on interviewing 16 head coaches. So there still could be a couple of guys that aren't on this list and haven't been named or been out in the public yet that we could get around to interviewing. So if you haven't heard a name of a guy you're really interested in that I just listed, it's still possible. I'm recording this as of Wednesday night. So it could happen. Don't get your hopes down if you're not interviewing your favorite guy like, I don't know, Todd Monken. I don't think we're going to bring old Todd back as our head coach especially, but it's possible. Biscotti I guess I forgot to say this earlier. He also mentioned in his State of the Union address that Luke is our kicker through and through. He's our guy. Mm. I don't think that'll deter the team from bringing in an undrafted free agent kicker to give him some competition, because that definitely will happen. But man, I I kind of figured this was coming, at least to like boost the guy's confidence and get him back up out there. But I just it's hard to get past this. It kind of feels like Hauschka and Cundiff. Like after they missed that kick, I just wanted to never see them again. Hopefully, I can come around to Tyler Loop, but I'll be honest, I don't think I can. Sorry, Tyler. Let's get into a little mock draft preview. So it's mock draft season, obviously, because our season is over. We're picking at pick 14. Just going to give you guys some possibles that we could take at number 14 here. So a guy we've kind of mentioned for the past few months, best guard in the draft, Vega Ayane. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong. We're just going to call you Vega, as we have been for the past few months. Guard from Penn State. Solid, solid dude. Peter Woods, defensive line from Clemson. This is one of my favorites, and I think this definitely could happen, especially with the absence of Matabuke, probably ending his career. We definitely need help. We also have Caden Proctor, offensive lineman. I'm saying lineman for a reason because I think he could play tackle or guard for us, but he is an offensive tackle for the University of Alabama. Keldrick Falk, edge rusher from Auburn. We also have Caleb Downs, safety from Ohio State. Francis Mayowaga, offensive tackle from Miami. David Bailey, edge from Texas Tech. Spencer Fano, offensive tackle from Utah. Don't worry, as Ravens fans, every year, oh, what if we draft a receiver? Oh, I want a receiver. Good God. I'll give you some receivers. I don't think we're going to take a receiver, but it's just for you guys. Carnell Tate, Ohio State. Jordan Tyson. Tyson's probably going to be the first receiver taken off the board. But anything's really possible at 14, so stick with me. Or Malachi Lemon from USC. That was a lot of names. Who do I personally think is the guy? I mean, obviously we need defensive line help. We need edge help. Those are probably the two glaring needs on defense. But what have we dealt with all year long? People complaining about 7-7. The big man saying Falele, or as they say to disrespect him, Falala is trash. He's not good enough. Maybe we just shut these fans up. We take a lineman, because obviously we sure need the help on the line. The only thing that makes me a little weird about thinking we're going to take a lineman is that when EDC and Biscotti were talking about, or I think it was EDC to be exact, talking about our group and our core of linemen this year, they said that we're pretty set and we don't know if we need to make any additions. Maybe by him saying that, it's like a free agent splash. I could maybe understand that one. I definitely think we need to draft an offensive lineman. But you guys know this more than anyone, or at least you should. The Ravens don't draft based off need. We always will take the best player available. So obviously, that it all depends on how the board looks. But what do I think, right? Let's get back to that. I think our pick, I'm of course a little biased here because I'm an Alabama guy. I'm a Gump. I think our pick's going to be Caden Proctor. Hang in here with me. 6'7", 360 pounds. This guy can play tackle and guard. Crazy athleticism. This dude is such an athlete that he even played in Wildcat packages for us this year. Whether that's him just doing like a run up the middle like Derrick Henry. Dude was catching screens, doing like jet sweeps and stuff. Absurd. The sky's the limit. I don't think the Ravens are going to do like any screen passes or jet sweeps to Caden Proctor, but it just shows you that this guy's a dude. And he's got some serious speed for being, 6'7", 360 pounds. Giant man, but dude's quick. But to put things into perspective, I did a mock draft or two just to kind of see, if the board could fall, who are some guys that could really fall to us? And man, it was pretty exciting. I don't think it's very likely, But my first mock, I had Caleb Downs, the safety from Ohio State, falling us to pick 14. Dude, imagine our defense. That would be absolutely disgusting. And to be fair, we didn't really think that Mike Green, or no one thought Mike Green would be there in the second round. We thought he was a lock, top 15 pick in the draft. Obviously, he had some off the field issues that made him drop in the draft, but anything is possible. Players drop every year. Our defense with Caleb and Kyle, oh, good God, that would be absurd. Caleb is arguably one of the best, probably the best player in the draft. Not many people would say that, but you could make the argument, at least for the best defender in the draft. That could be really exciting. Another guy, or let's just get right into the mock, might as well. So that Caleb Downs mock, we had Caleb Downs at pick 14. And this is with some trades as well. I guess I should do the trades first. All right, so just keep in mind, Caleb Downs, pick 14. So throughout, I was kind of wheeling and dealing. I moved back from one of my second round picks, and we acquired a second for this year, a third for this year, and a future fourth and a sixth. And that was from the Indianapolis Colts. Also traded a fourth round pick to the Lions to move back, get 2 fifth-round picks from them and 2 sevens. Then I wheeled and dealed one of those fifths, moved a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh to go back in for another fifth-round pick because one of our guys was still on the board. Then I traded a fifth, a sixth, and a sixth for another 5, and then traded 2 6 for a 5 as well. And then I traded, oh no, that was the last trade. Apologize on that one. So in total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades. Because you know EDC loves to wheel and deal. Caleb Downs at pick 14, safety from Ohio State. Then pick 47, have him taken Emmanuel Pregnon, interior offensive line from Oregon. If we're not going to take a guard or a tackle or any lineman in the first round, we're probably going to address that pretty quickly, and I think that would be the right thing to do in the second round. Then next to pick 78, I have us sticking with interior offensive lineman, going with Parker Brailsford from the University of Alabama. This guy plays center, but I think he could possibly move to guard as well if need be. This is one of those where best player available is kind of stunning that he was even here at 78. I think it's a home run pick. You got to take home Parker, beef up that line. And hey, if the last pick, Emmanuel, if he can't impact the team right away and play from day one, you know, maybe Parker can be the guy. Just works out having 2 of them. Our next pick at pick 80, having us taking a receiver. This was definitely a head scratcher here. I even almost took him at pick 78, our last pick, but Jacoby Lane, receiver from USC, was very surprised to see him on the board because some mock drafts have him going in the first round. Thought that was another surefire pick. The next pick 115, I have us taking a running back from Penn State, Nick Singleton. Huge fan of Nick Singleton and even Katron Allen from Penn State this year. Obviously, these guys fell in the draft because Penn State had a disastrous season. Everyone got hurt. If you didn't get hurt, season was a dumpster fire. What can you do? Nick is one of the best running backs in the draft that obviously isn't Jeremiah Love. We're not getting him. You could also say, you know, we have Eric Henry and Keaton Mitchell. Why would we take a running back? But you're here at pick 115 and you have arguably could be the second best running back in the draft still available. I think you just got to pull the trigger. You don't know how much longer you have left with Derrick Henry. And I know I keep saying this like a fool because this man's just still an absolute animal, a tank. But you got to think that at least eventually he's going to have a bit of a drop off. Hopefully not, but he's human. So I think we take Nick Singleton here. Then pick 118. Absolutely love this guy. Tim Keenan, defensive line, more of a nose tackle from the University of Alabama. We need our defensive tackles. Tim Keenan, this guy is an absolute dog. He missed about half the season but he was still one of the best interior defensive linemen in the NCAA. And it's hard to like check stats and look at interior defensive linemen because they're not putting up numbers, and especially because a lot of good defensive tackles, they're just plugging up the middle, right? You look at a guy and he has like 16 tackles on the season, you're like, man, that's pretty terrible. Well, that's because they couldn't run the ball down the middle. The dude had to completely shut down. Just food for thought here. But Tim Keenan screams Raven to me. Big fan of this guy. Absolutely love him, especially being a Gump. Pick 173, we have us taking Babacar Traore. I'm very sorry on the pronunciation of that name. Edge rusher from Notre Dame. This guy is a very good edge, one of the better edges in the draft. Very surprised to see him falling to pick 173. I'm not saying he's a first round pick, but I definitely see this guy as a round 2 to 4 guy. It's a crazy value there. Maybe 2 to 5, sorry, a bit of a stretch. But taking him pretty solid. We need the edge help. Kind of hurts that we waited this long to get an edge, but Bob Carr could be that guy, plug and play, step in day one. So it works out waiting this long to take an edge. Our next pick, everyone needs corner depth, and we see this every year, and we're reminded every year why we need corner depth. And I guess this year's example was Jair Alexander. But I was taking Jermaine Matthews, cornerback from Ohio State. Then our next pick, pick 192, give us some more linebacker depth. I think this guy could be a future starter. Absolutely love Justin Jefferson, linebacker from Alabama. Not to be confused with Justin Jefferson on the Vikings, which would be pretty confusing to deal with when we have like a broadcaster's saying, Justin Jefferson with the tackle of Justin Jefferson there. The dude's a stud, just like the guy that he shares his name with. Honestly, pretty surprised to see that he's mocked this late. Either way, if he's there, we're sure as hell taking him. Big fan of Justin. Pick 206, I have us taking Demetrius Crownover, apologize there, offensive tackle from Texas A&M. Dude is absolutely giant, huge tackle. I mean, we could take all the depth we could get, especially on the line, because this was probably the worst line we've seen in Ravens history this past year. It was pretty gross. And here's another quick mock. I'm just going to run through it fast. This one only had one trade, so it was not that big of a deal. But I have us switching it up here. Obviously, Caleb Downs was not available. So pick 14, I'm taking Peter Woods, defensive lineman from Clemson. Have the same second round pick, pick 45, we're taking Emmanuel Pregnon, the interior offensive lineman from Oregon. Then going to pick 80, taking a receiver. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm an Alabama guy. But they put out studs, so what can I, what can I do? Taking a receiver from the University of Alabama, Jeremy Bernard. Not to be confused with Jeremy. His name is Jeremy with a G. I think this guy is sneakily one of the best receivers in the draft. Ryan Williams disappeared off the face of the earth, and this guy carried just about the whole team, the whole offense, rather, for Alabama. Dude just has glue for hands. Honestly, if I had to think of a good comp, I would say Alshon Jeffrey. So we definitely need a guy like that, especially with D-Hop being 700 years old and a fire-breathing dragon. Definitely could use a bigger, more physical receiver. And hey, don't get me wrong, this guy still has speed. We're doing design runs. Like this guy did a lot of plays, pretty much just at running back for us, running the ball. Like not even just jet sweeps, like actual handoffs and stuff, counters. Sneaky speed there for Jeremy Bernard. Big fan. Pick 115, Will Lee, cornerback from Texas A&M. Then 152, have us taking Tim Keenan in this draft as well. 167, hey, same again. Babacar, the edge from Notre Dame. And then 172, this guy definitely feels like a Raven. The linebacker from Utah, I thought I said his name wrong, but no. Lander Barton, kind of like that name. Lander Barton was one of the best middle linebackers in the Big 12 this year. Big fan. Next pick here, this is a bit of a project pick where this guy did not really put up crazy numbers in college. Didn't really put up good numbers at all, if we're being honest. But he's 6'7". And I think it's off that alone, it's what, 6th round? It's worth taking the lottery pick. But Eli Raridone, tight end from Notre Dame. And then pick 249. I have us taking Justin Jefferson, just like the other mock, middle linebacker from the University of Alabama. This is a fun one, guys. Pick 250, Bruno Owanazor, offensive tackle from Virginia State. You're probably hearing, wow, Virginia State. I don't even think I've heard of that school. Virginia State is an HBCU school in Virginia, obviously. Bruno, I would say, is probably the best HBCU player in this draft. I think it only makes sense. Let's bring Bruno up to Baltimore, not too far away from Virginia. This guy is giant, very large tackle. When you get late in the draft, it's kind of worth these flyer picks. Just throw the dart up there, see what happens. This one, honestly, I was kind of just running out of picks and running out of guys that I really thought would work out for us, or to be honest, guys I really even knew for the most part. So I kind of just wasted this pick. I would say that we would trade this one. But just for fun, I have us taking a kicker. Oh, man. Dominic Zadvia, kicker from Michigan. He was the best kicker in college football this year. Do I think we take a kicker? No. I think we learned our lesson, and we're going to go back to our bread and butter of undrafted free agent kickers. I know I ran through that really quick, but I also feel like if you're driving your car listening to a podcast, hearing me just rattle off a mock draft isn't the most entertaining thing for a long time. So I kind of want to just do that quick, rapid fire. I guess let me know if you guys want to hear more in-depth mock draft coverage, because you bet you I love doing mock drafts and putting in hours of grinding and homework on the simulators. Just let me know in the comments or in the reviews. But before we get out of here, I want to give you guys my Super Bowl prediction. I got the Bills against the Rams, and in classic Buffalo fashion, have the Bills losing the Super Bowl. Rams win it 31-24. Matt Stafford rides off into the sunset, retires as a Super Bowl champion, possibly Super Bowl MVP. And it also seems like he has that NFL MVP completely locked up. So it's just kind of perfect storyline for Stafford. I know you could argue that after having an MVP season, the guy should probably give it a few more years and keep kicking the tires. But let's be real, this guy went into this season with a significant back injury until he was saved by that new technology the Ravens put in their facilities. Same. His back was saved by that. Puts up an MVP season. But you got to remember, hurt back, gray hair. Guy's like, what, 38 years old. He's got kids. Can't do it forever. Stafford rides off into the sunset. Rams are Super Bowl champions. Bills have heartbreak again. But thank you guys for coming out to this latest podcast. Oh, forgot to address, Steelers lost. I don't like to be hating and petty, but man, it feels good to see them get blown out in the playoffs yet another year. Makes you sleep good at night. Thank you guys for coming out. Give us 5 stars, like, subscribe, but don't forget to share this to your racist uncle in Dundalk with his camo pants, and we'll see you next time.